Greetings all you whiskey gluttons, this is Mark from WhiskyWhistle bringing you whiskey review number 41. Thanks for tuning in today. If you're new to WhiskyWhistle, I welcome you, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming back. Today we're going to be looking at a blended Scotch whiskey from Scotland, of course, hence it's called Scotch, and this time it is Chivas Regal 18-year-old, the gold signature. Pardon me. Now, I've got a little bit of a cold, so I apologize if my voice is a little bit raspy, but I assure you my nose and my tongue are working pretty much 100%. So let's get right into the pouring, because we do need to give that a bit of time in the glass to get a little bit of air to maximize the fragrances and the tastes. Okay, so let's open up that bottle. Got a nice cork too, which is quite nice. And we'll pour myself, a nice dram of Chivas Regal 18. That's about enough, I think. Now this is my second crack today at, oh dear, that's gone far too far for me to retrieve. It's my second crack today at reviewing this, so we're going to keep rolling, all right? Okay, first of all, while we're waiting for that to get a bit of air, let's have a look at the bottle together, shall we? Quite an attractive one with nice royal blue tones. It's called Gold Signature for the specific reason that the master blender, Colin Scott, well, he's put his name to this one in gold, gold pen, so it's called the Gold Signature. And the reason why is that he specifically chose all of the whiskeys and all the casks to go into this particular blend. Now, again, for those of you who are not aware, blended Scotch whiskey, why is it called blended? Well, twofold. Number one, it contains more than one particular grain. Specifically, it has barley malt, and also some other grain, be it wheat or be it corn, or perhaps some other grain, although wheat and corn are the ones that are basically used in the Scotch whiskey industry. The second reason why it's called blended is because it contains distillate or whiskeys from more than one distillery. So single malt, the single comes from the fact that it's made at a single distillery. Blended means that it comes from more than one particular distillery, and also contains not only malt whiskey. Okay, so there we go. Now we'll look at the bottle on the back here. I'll read that to you. Chivas Brothers Master Blender has hand-selected whiskeys for this exceptional richness, to create this very special blend. Chivas Regal Gold Signature, 18 years old. All right. And interestingly, on the back here, we do see that I think this bottle maybe came from the Danish market, and it says, my father's Danish, so I'll give my tongue a little bit of practice in Danish. Farven justeret med caramel. So you heard the word caramel there, so we can pretty much be assured there's a bit of caramel color added. Pardon me, although likely not very much. And we cannot fault the brand, because all blends, basically all major blends use some caramel color to make sure that they can achieve the right color batch to batch. Okay, there's so many variables, and that way, they can always market it as having a certain color. All right, enough about that. Let's look at the box together. It's an attractive chocolate brown box, again with that royal blue coloring. And some interesting things in the back here, which I'll read to you. Let's see, 18 years old, richness and maturity. The Chivas Regal Gold Signature Blend has been created for its opulent richness from whiskeys matured for at least 18 years. And then it has a little emblem that says CS, Colin Scott Master Blender. Chivas Brothers Master Blender Colin Scott has hand-selected the casks for this very special blend. In recognition of this, Colin Scott's initials appear on every bottle of the Chivas Regal Gold Signature. And I believe that's right here in the front. Somewhere. Where? Oh, yes. Someone mentioned that I need to get a pad for that. So I'm going to make sure I find something to make that less noisy. Okay. Chivas Brothers. The Chivas Regal Lion symbolizes Chivas Brothers' pride in this superb whiskey. For over 100 years, Chivas Brothers has owned a remarkable wealth of whiskey stocks. From these thousands of casks maturing deep in Scottish hills, only a few of the richest are set aside for Chivas Regal Gold Signature. The Gold Signature. And this is a quote from Colin Scott. A welcoming, rewarding whiskey. Exceptional richness with multi-layered aromas of buttery toffee, dark chocolate and dried fruits. Hints of spices and smoke. The voluptuous, velvety palate that develops into an extremely long, warm finish. Colin Scott Master Blender. Pardon me. All right. Well, let's get into the tasting. And before so, there will be a short advertisement, so stay tuned for these messages and we'll be right back. Okay, let's carry on with that. So here we are with Chivas Regal 18-year-old Gold Signature. And it's got a quite sweet, malty nose to it. And they mentioned buttery toffee. And I would say, yes, I do get some buttery toffee there. So it's got a buttery nose in the fragrance of it. Now, as I've been researching all the way down to here, what I notice is that when you first pour it, you'll get a bit of a waft of that typical blended Scotch whiskey smell. And that partially comes from either the corn whiskey or the wheat whiskey, the grain whiskey that is distilled in column stills. And anyway, so I notice you get a bit of that at the beginning after you pour yourself a glass. But as time passes, the malt really asserts itself. And I have a feeling that there could be as much as 60 or 70% malt whiskey in this particular selection as opposed to grain whiskey. Although, again, that's just a personal opinion. I don't know that for a fact. And if you do, please feel free to leave me a comment, okay? What else do I get here? Well, there's a nice bit of fruitiness there as well. And typical whiskey sort of fragrances as vanilla and caramel and so on. Now let me just refer to my notes. What have I written here? Fragrant nose. First, some grain notes. Then very malty. Now, I found the 12-year-old to be very chocolatey. And in fact, I don't find that with this particular expression. Oh, and orange liqueur, which I've written here. So there's a very, very strong orange flavor, orange scent that's coming through on the nose here. And I've written here, mild peat and wood smoke. It is very mild. It's basically not a peated blend. vanilla, cinnamon, and pepper. It's interesting. This is really opening up my sinuses. Okay, how about the taste? Cheers all. Thank you for watching, and let's give that a try. Packs a lot of flavor for 40% ABV. And what I write here is big sweetness. So this is a really, really sweet style of blended Scotch whiskey. Stewed fruits, Earl Grey tea, polished oak furniture, and I wrote here lawyer's office. You know, one of the ones maybe in downtown New York. Let's check out the finish. Now, it's interesting, neat. I would say this is medium to short in terms of the finish length. And I've written here malt, vanilla, and oak raisins as the notes for the finish. Okay, now I think things get really interesting with this whiskey when you add a bit of water. So we're going to add just a dash, not too much. There we go. And we'll swirl that around. Now I mentioned that I reviewed the 12-year-old quite a while ago. That was one of my first reviews. It's a little bit old school. The picture quality is not that great, but I'd love it if you'd watch it, and I'm going to put a link to that. Well, there'll be a link here. Okay, so I'll put a link right here to click on and watch the Chivas Regal 12-year-old review. And then at the end of the video, there'll be another link as well. Okay, and you know, this will not be the last Chivas Regal that I do either. In fact, I've got some things here to show you. This is something that's available in travel retail, aka duty free, and that is Chivas Regal, the Chivas Brothers Blend. Okay, and this has the new logo, so they've gone away from a sticker or, you know, the classic label, and they've chosen to actually do printing right on the glass. So Chivas Brothers Blend, it's 12 years old. Thank you so much for getting that age statement on there, Chivas Brothers, and the owners of the brand. Pardon me. And another thing that I will be featuring, which is not available, at least not as far as I know, it's not available wherever you are, unless you're in Korea, and that is Imperial blended Scotch whiskey. Again, aged 12 years. And I have shown this before, and I will be reviewing that very soon. And again, this is made by the same company and includes some of the same whiskeys, some different ones as well, and also made by Chivas Brothers Limited. And it's written right there in English, in fact. Well, anything else? No. Anyway, Pernod Ricard is the owner of the Chivas Brothers brand. And I mentioned this is a very sweet style. And as you're watching on the iPad, and I'm looking at it in a mirror that I have right here, you will see a bottle of Strathyla rolling by. And, well, the Chivas Regal brand, it's located at the Strathyla Distillery. And this whiskey, Strathisla Single Malt, is really, really well known for being very, very, very sweet. So I think that's probably what lends a lot of sweetness to the Chivas Regal range of flavors. Okay, anyway, let's get into smelling this with a little bit of water, and there'll be a second advertisement right here. Okay, let's have a sniff there. Oh, there's Strathisla right there. Okay, anyway, so let's smell that with water. You get a lot more vanilla. And the toffee's still there. Maybe a little bit of mocha coming through on the nose now. And I've written here, lighter florals, and the grain begins to reassert itself, a grain whiskey. Okay, and we'll try that with water as well. Much bigger sweetness. Just a hint of orange sourness. Malt sugar. There's still mocha there. Interesting. And the thing I really like with water is the finish. Really has a long finish when you add a touch of water. And I wrote here, more vanilla, buttery nuts, orange peel, honey, and tart pears. Okay. Well, so that's about it for the tasting of Chivas Regal Gold Signature 18-year-old. And the WhiskyWhistle Whiskey Scorer for this particular offering from Chivas Regal will be 85 out of 100. 85 points for Chivas Regal Gold Signature 18-year-old. My notes here, very potent at 40% ABV. Best enjoyed with a little bit of water. It's very different from the 12-year-old. And I think this would be a good startup to a malt evening or to offer to a special guest. It is quite malty, and I put here, again with question marks, 60% malt. Anyway, if you do know, please let me know. I would appreciate that. And otherwise, thanks again for tuning in. If you'd like to subscribe to WhiskyWhistle, you can do so by clicking the link right down there. Okay? Thanks for tuning in, and keep in touch. Make sure to leave a comment or share this with your friends, okay? All right, thanks everyone, and take care.